Wait, did Cameron just go too far? What was leaked could have ruined his decades-long relationship with Jim Jones. And this time, it's not a publicity stunt. A video of Chrissy Lukin's private and intimate moments has surfaced. But this is the part that has people talking. Insiders are accusing Cameron of being responsible. Was this a careless mistake gone wrong? Or was it a calculated betrayal intended to degrade Jim in the most heinous way possible? It's not just about the video anymore. We're talking about backroom deals, lost opportunities, and a brotherhood that may have been a lie all along. If you've ever watched two kings turn into enemies in real time, you know that what you're about to hear will forever alter your perception of Cameron. Jim isn't remaining silent any longer. He's blowing up on all platforms, releasing decades of pent-up resentment. Don't blink, don't scroll, and don't click away because this is the beginning of the end. You would think that after all these years of street brotherhood, Dipset loyalty, and a joint ascent to hip-hop royalty, there would be some sort of unwritten boundary that Cameron wouldn't dare cross. But apparently loyalty dies in silence because what just happened isn't just betrayal, it's nuclear. Rewind, it all began with a leak, but this one was particularly graphic and emotionally offensive. A private video of Chrissy Lukin, Jim Jones's longtime partner and a highly esteemed matriarch figure, appeared on a dubious burner Twitter account with no followers, no tags, and no captions. The unfiltered raw video was posted on the timeline like a digital bomb. At first, people believed it to be a deepfake, and then they assumed it was old footage. Chrissy's face became popular within hours, and the internet did what it does best: detective mode. Edits began to appear, TikTok reactions went viral, and before anyone could verify or refute the clip's veracity, Twitter was saying, "Cam did it." Now, why would Cameron release such a video? What would he stand to gain by exposing something so private? Was it retaliation or spite? Or was there something more sinister simmering beneath the surface? Let's take a moment to discuss the history of their alleged brotherhood, because this wasn't the first time that Cam and Jim had conflict. See, Dipset wasn't as perfect as it appeared on the outside. Behind the colorful bandanas and dazzling music videos, there were constant power struggles, backdoor business dealings, and quiet rivalry over who actually led the crew. Cameron was the charismatic mastermind, and Jim Jones was the heart and street muscle. But the more their empire expanded, the more cracks began to show. There were episodes of subtle jabs in interviews, cryptic Instagram stories, passive-aggressive verses, and then the explosive moments, such as the notorious 2017 Hot 97 interview in which Cam revealed everything from financial betrayals to internal beef. Jim sobbed, but Cam played it cool. Fans were perplexed, but the core Dipset audience knew was a wound that would never heal. Fast forward to 2025, and we're right. The history between Chrissy and Cameron is what makes this worse. In the early 2000s, Chrissy was a mainstay on the scene, not only as Jim's partner, but also as a shrewd businesswoman making genuine moves. There were constant rumors that Cam disapproved of the fact that he believed Chrissy was controlling Jim's business decisions. Some even said Cam attempted to persuade Jim to leave her in order to concentrate on his music career. The video was recorded more than 10 years ago, according to sources close to the situation who spoke to us anonymously for their own protection. At the time, it seemed like harmless barbershop talk, but in hindsight, that might have been the seed of the quiet, simmering resentment that grew over decades. Now, with one leak, Cameron might have just let all that old animosity erupt in the most disturbing way possible. However, this is where things become even more suspicious. According to one insider, the video was kept on a now-defunct Dipset hard drive that was only accessible by a select few. It was allegedly taken by Cam when the crew split up in the middle of the 2010 fallout. Could this be a coincidence or a calculated act of retaliation? Even more shocking, just days before the leak, Cam and Jim were seen laughing like old friends at a Rock Nation brunch, posing for photos and even hinting at a potential reunion tour. So if this were indeed a premeditated leak from Cam's camp, Was he playing nice while planning to drop a bomb? Jim didn't remain silent for long. Less than 24 hours after the video went viral, Jim Jones uploaded a black screen to his Instagram story with the simple words, "I see you." Fans went crazy, comments exploded, and it was Jim going solo forever. Then, the real clapback occurred on. Jim let loose in a raw, unfiltered live stream that attracted over 120K viewers in just a few minutes. There was no script or PR team involved. It was just pure rage and heartbreak. "I don't care what you think. This man has been jealous of me since day one." Jim spat into the camera, saying, "You don't touch family. You don't play with my woman." The video wasn't accidentally sent to hurt me. Viewers were crying, and even longtime Dipset fans were taking sides. It wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. It was a public declaration of war. At this point, the internet was ablaze with think pieces, podcast segments, and Twitter spaces discussing whether Jim was being emotional or whether Cam had truly gone too far. "This is the same man who cut me out of tour money in 2011 and told labels that I was unreliable and held this crew down. And now you want to throw dirt on Chrissy." In the meantime, Chrissy Lampkin, who is known for staying 10 toes down in every storm, made a rare move of her own. She unfollowed Cam on all platforms, archived every photo that featured him, and posted a mysterious message on her story. "Some wounds cut too deep. No names, no faces, but we all knew." And the fact that Cam remained completely silent only made things worse. The allegations of text messages between Cam and an unidentified industry friend discussing a plan to leak something spicy to harm Jim's brand before a big business deal were made by an anonymous source, and just when things couldn't get any more toxic, they did. If those texts are true, goes beyond petty drama and is career sabotage. The worst part is that Cam hasn't denied them, which raises the question of whether he actually did not do it and why he isn't. Just when we thought we had reached the height of chaos, something even more unexpected happened, and just when we thought we had reached the pinnacle of chaos, things took a crazy turn. Just when Jim Jones believed he had revealed every secret Cameron could be hiding, new layers of betrayal began to unravel like a web of lies. Defending himself, why remain silent while your name is dragged through digital hell? Or perhaps Cam knew this day would come and he was ready to burn it all down. Deceit, the text messages, yes, were real, but here's where it gets really spicy. The leak wasn't just about the video, no. According to people familiar with the matter, these alleged texts between Cam and an unidentified industry insider paint a much darker picture. In them, Cam discusses starting a whole smear campaign to damage Jim's reputation in the industry, rather than just destroying his brand with a single video leak. One message purportedly read, The message went on to explain how this industry friend allegedly told Cam to keep it low-key, but Jim's Instagram Live didn't just change the game. It changed the conversation completely. It wasn't just about the video anymore. It was about the entire legacy of Dipset. Exactly the right amount of dirt can break him down. Let's hit him where it hurts. His woman, his money, his fans. That's right. His woman, his money, his fans. Everyone was a detective now, and the internet was ablaze with facts, half-truths, and assumptions. The crew's reputation was about to take a huge hit, with fans and industry insiders beginning to wonder if all those years of loyalty were just a business deal gone wrong. Is Cam behind this? Was he secretly trying to push Jim out of Dipset all along? Could this be a calculated move to regain control of the group? Let's take a moment to consider if Cam did in. Since Cam didn't address it right away, fans dug deeper into his past, and some unsettling patterns emerged in a Twitter thread that sent shockwaves through the industry. The fact that Cam leaked that video as part of a larger scheme to destroy Jim would be the most calculated move in hip-hop history. Imagine taking down a brother with the most intimate betrayals, hurting not only his career but also his personal life in the process, all while hiding behind silence. It became evident that Cam wasn't just known for making hits. He was also known for making enemies. If you cross him, you're done. His silent treatment was his power move because when Cam went silent, he had already won. He knew that the world would turn against Jim, and he was sitting back enjoying the show. However, this is where it gets really dirty, according to some. Shockwaves across the internet. Fans unearthed numerous old photos of Cam with other rappers' former friends who had been cast aside once they were no longer useful. Sources: the leaks didn't end with Chrissy's video. No, we're talking about pictures, private messages, and financial documents that were leaked to bloggers and dubious websites who were more than willing to spread the rumors. And the person in charge of the leaks, you guessed it, was an unidentified third party who had previously been connected to both Jim and Cam. This is where things get crazy though, because it was reported that this third party, who we'll call the puppet master, contacted Jim and Cam separately and offered them deals, exclusive interviews, and even attempted to mediate a purported reunion between the two of them. But there's the catch. They wanted to control the story, profit from the conflict, make it public, and make the entire situation into a spectacle. The puppet master's ultimate goal was to intensify the conflict until it reached a breaking point, making it impossible for the two ex-brothers to ever get back together. This wasn't just business, it was personal, and it was the ultimate betrayal. We can't ignore the fact that the fallout from this scandal will affect more than just their friendship. It will also affect their legacies, music, fans, and lives, and we have only just begun to explore the possibilities. So here we are at the end of this incredible story where the destruction isn't just personal but public, and by public, we mean explosive, because what happens when two people work together? This isn't just about Jim and Cam anymore. It's about the entire culture of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that keeps the hip-hop world together and how it is unraveling in real time. As the world watched this feud intensify, something even more sinister began to surface: the financial consequences of this betrayal. Legends fall out in the most devastating way possible, and the entire industry trembles. We're beginning to hit harder than any lyric or diss track could. People close to Cam and Jim, who recall having their hands in a number of profitable business endeavors, started to leak a troubling story about both men losing a lot of money. You might think these are just rumors, but these are people who are deeply involved in their circles, including publicists, managers, former label executives, and others who have been feeling the effects of this industry feud. Jim Jones, for instance, reportedly had multiple endorsement deals put on hold indefinitely, and his partnership with a well-known luxury brand was also put on hold indefinitely. The brand did not want to be associated with the ongoing drama surrounding his personal life, and they couldn't afford the scandal that was tainting his image. As for Cameron, it turns out that his attempt to rebuild his solo career hit a huge wall, and business partners were backing out left and right, unsure. It became evident that the drama was about more than just the music, it was about survival. Cam and Jim had to make some difficult decisions quickly or risk losing everything, and the lawsuits followed. Other strange rumors included unpaid contracts, shaky financial dealings, and even rumors that Cam was being sued by a former label executive for alleged mismanagement of funds. The actual business side of the fallout was as if a legal storm had just arrived, bringing with it a barrage of accusations, counterclaims, and settlements. First, it was Jim Jones's turn. According to insiders, Jim had officially sued Cameron for defamation, charging him with slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress related to the leaked video and the public attacks on his personal life that followed. Jim's legal team was ready to handle the case. The rumor that Jim was demanding millions of dollars in damages and a public apology from Cam was even more shocking. The claim was so audacious that it caught even the most seasoned legal professionals off guard. Cameron, however, wasn't going to let go unanswered. Instead, he responded with a counterclaim that claimed Jim had been extorting him for years. He'd accused Jim of using their friendship to steal money and manipulate business. The fans, who have been there for them since the beginning, know every word and wear every Dipset chain as if it were their own. This is where the real heartbreak comes in. Amidst all of this chaos, legal experts predicted that this case could drag on for years. The public's perception of both men began to deteriorate even more with each day. Was this the end of their careers and their legacies? The underdog narrative was in full force, but it was difficult to ignore the growing division between the two factions of Dipset supporters when the bombshells came. At first, fans weren't sure who to believe. Some sided with Jim, saying Cam had crossed the line, while others said Cam had good reason to feel betrayed after years of watching Jim play second fiddle. They began to dig deeper into the story, and the more they discovered, the more their loyalty was shaken. After going viral, leaked footage of Jim's emotional breakdown surfaced, including one particularly disturbing clip in which he asked himself, "Is this how they really feel about me after everything we've been through?" while he muttered as he stared at his phone screen. Cam, on the other hand, remained unconcerned and went silent once more. His only public statement was a tweet that said, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has to be said." No clarification, no apology, just a cold, calculated statement. He was aware of the consequences, but the longer he remained silent, the more people saw a different side of him, a cunning, self-serving businessman who would stop at nothing to maintain control. Some fans took to social media to defend their favorite rapper, while others turned against Ship. The entire Dipset fan base was split, and the industry noticed. The more they argued, the less power they held was falling apart, and both men were to blame. The question was whether they could ever mend the damage, or if their actions permanently damaged the legacy they had created together. Now, let's talk about Chrissy, since she was the main target of this feud. As the drama developed, her name was also dragged through the mud, and it was obvious that she was caught in the center of this mess. However, there was one thing that fans didn't. Chrissy wasn't just a victim at the time. In fact, there were rumors that she had seen the video before it was made public and had been pressuring Jim to take action against Cam. Whether or not that was true, Chrissy's involvement in this scandal only made it more mysterious. Was she merely a pawn in this game, or did she have her own reasons for remaining silent while everything fell into place? The more this went on, the more those close to both men became entangled in the fallout. Those who had previously supported them were now separating themselves so as not to be caught in the crossfire of a feud that was getting out of hand. The worst part is that this was no longer just about the men. It was also about their families' reputations and everything they had worked so hard to build over the years. At this point, we have to ask, is there any hope for? The question remains after everything that has happened. Is there any hope for a reconciliation between Jim and Cam? Or is this feud really the end of the Dipset era? The legacy they have built over the years is now in jeopardy, and it's not just their reputations that are at stake, it's their place in hip-hop history books. As the lawsuits mount, public opinion changes, and the music industry waits. One thing is certain, the story isn't finished yet. The truth about the Jim Jones and Cameron feud, the shattered bond, and the explosive fallout that's rocking the hip-hop world is yet to be written. But for now, the question is still who will win this epic battle of brotherhood, betrayal, and broken bonds. Here's the real question though, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. Who's at fault here? Was it Cam's betrayal that started it all, or was Jim's own greed and ambition the spark that ignited the fire? Let me in The world is watching, and the drama is far from over. That's it for today's jaw-dropping story. But before you leave, I need to know what you think Jim Jones is right to do. Do you think they can ever patch things up? Or is this the end of Dipset's reign? If you enjoyed this in-depth look at the chaos, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more explosive content. Go after Cameron like this. Or did Cameron get a raw deal in all of this? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, as I'm reading them all. I'd like to know if you're on the Jim or Cam side, or if you think this whole thing has been a complete mess from the beginning. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and enable notifications so you'll be the first to know when we release the next wild story. I promise you won't want to miss it. Until the next time, keep your eyes open and stay tuned. As always, we have the truth, and we're not afraid to expose it. We're just getting started, and you want to be here for the real tea. Remember to like, comment, and share this video to keep the conversation going. See you in the next one.